Hello and welcome to our new playlist. In this playlist we will be discussing about completely beginner players, which we will share our experiences and we will be start from the basics of chess, like names of each squares, the basic tactics, the basic strategy, the basic opening principle, the basic endgames. The basic tactics like pin, squares, fork, discovering, and also some important and crucial checkmate patterns, like as you can see on the board. So let's start it from the chessboard and squares. As you know, the chessboard has 64 squares, which is 32 dark squares and also 32 white or light squares. As you know, each squares on the board has individual names, which we will be discussing on that. As you can see on the board, we have we can divide our chessboard on two parts: the king side and also the queen side. As you can see, from A up to D files, we can see the queen side. Here, as you can see, these squares, we can see the queen side, and also this specific or small circles, we can see the king side. We can understand more on the board. As you can see, these positions, these squares are delegated to the king side, and also here we can see the queen side. We also have three more important squares: the files, ranks, and diagonals. As you can see, the files start up to down and down to up, and start from A up to H. A, B, C, D up to H. These called files. And also we have ranks, which is started from the right to left and left to right, which is a start 1 up to 8 or 8 up to 1. But we also have other squares, which called diagonal squares. Diagonal squares are across the board and divided in two parts: the light diagonals and also the dark diagonals, as you can see. And we can see we must be know individual squares names. For example, we want to discussing about the red squares or red circle. If we want to say this squares, we can say B3. Why B3? Because it's located on B file and also 3 rank, and we can say this is called B3 squares. How about the yellow color circle? We can see G6. Why? Because the yellow circle is located on G file and 6 rank. How about the blue circle? It's located on C7. Why C7? Because it's located on C file and 7 rank. And also 4 important squares, which is E4, E5, D4, D5. This called the center also, which we will be discussing on the opening principle and also other parts of chess. In the opening, we can see we have 8 pawns and also 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, 1 king and 1 queen, which we'll be discussing in this chapter about the pawns. Pawns can go forward just 1 square, but this will be different. Why? Because just in opening can go 2 squares forward, and also they can go 1 square forward. Like here, black can play just 1 square or also can 2 squares. But this will be just for first pawn moves. But the capturing is completely different, because pawns take capturing diagonally, not forward. Like here. Let's see some examples. Like here, if white want to take the black pawns, it must be take like this. Or if black want take, it cannot take e4, but it can take d4. And also, if our pawn can reach the last rank, it can promote. Like here, if you see the g pawn, g6 pawn, it can go g7, g8, and it can promote to 4 pieces: queen, rook, bishop, or knight. That cannot be promoted to the king, because we have just 1 king. The other things which we want to discussing about the pawns are en passant, or en passant is take from the French word. It means taking the piece. Like here, if you can see, we can play some moves like g4, e4, c4. But if we want to play c4, here black can take our pawn with b pawn or d pawn. Like here, if we want to play some moves like c4, here black can play b take c3 and take our pawn. For example, here if we want to play some moves like e4, here 2 pawns can take our e4 pawn and come to e3. There's also another important things which we must know, which is called pass pawn. For example, in this situation, we can make a pass pawn, like we play g5. This g6 is great, because if our opponent want to take, we can promote our pawn to the queen, rook, bishop, or knight. And also, this also can called breakthrough, which we will be discussing more on the other chess courses. In other chapters, we will be discussing about the other pieces like knight, bishop, rook, queen, king, and also the other parts of chess. We hope this will be great for you, and we will be discussing more on the other parts. Thanks, all the best.